Hi, my name is Shannon Colgan, and a fun fact about me is that I have 10 siblings. I guess you could say I grew up in a pretty big family, and my life has never been boring. 7 of my siblings were adopted, while the other 4 of us were biological. Our family story has always felt so personal and familiar to me. That is, until I came to GCU. As I walk around campus, I always wondered how many students on campus know about the adoption process or have experienced the process of adoption personally. I was curious if their adoption stories were like my 7 adopted brothers. So I decided to set off on a journey and talk to some of my friends about their adoption experience.
Hi, my name is Christina Wells. I am 22 years old. I was raised in Omaha, Nebraska. I attend here at Grand Canyon University as a digital film student, and I am from an adopted family.
Hi, my name is Svetlana Porter. I'm 19 years old. I'm a freshman here at Grand Canyon University. My major is elementary education. I'm originally from the Bay Area in California, and I'm from a big adopted family.
My story begins in an orphanage in Haiti. When I was back in Haiti, I was very sick, so the government, I guess in a sense, took me away from my parents because they just couldn't afford to take care of me, so I was placed in an orphanage. And then my adopted parents, Jim and Paula, they had this nanny. Her name was Pam. She'd been nannying for my family for years before, but she went on a mission trip to Haiti, and so she actually went to the orphanage that I was at, and she took photos and videos and stuff, and she brought that back to my parents and kind of just shared her experience with them, and my parents just fell in love with the orphanage, but they also just fell in love with me, and from there, that's kind of how my story began.
I'm originally from Moscow, Russia. I was born there, and at 14 months old, I was adopted by my parents. They had 3 boys, and my mom always wanted a girl, and so she decided to adopt because her best friend at the time adopted a little baby girl, and my brothers just wanted a girl, and so I was adopted.
Unfortunately, no, I don't remember being adopted just because I was 2 years old, so 2-year-olds don't have that great of memory, but I've definitely heard lots of stories of kind of like how I came here. Like, apparently I was screaming and yelling on the plane, and I see pictures from like me being in the courtroom, and I'm like, where? I have no memory of that.
Growing up, my parents always told us that we were adopted, but to not feel ashamed about it because it's something pretty special and unique, and kind of figured out how. And also just like, I have siblings from around the world. I have siblings from China, Ethiopia, and Guatemala, and so we all look different, and that's pretty much how I found out.
I was not born here in the States. I was actually born in Haiti. Fun fact, I actually had the opportunity to go and visit Haiti. It was really just a cool experience to kind of see a culture that is a part of me, but I've never really had the chance to experience. So it was really fun to be able to go there and just witness where I could have grown up in a sense. So it was really cool to see and just how they live their lives as opposed to how I live mine in a different country. But yeah, it was a very fun experience.
I was not born locally. I was born in Moscow, Russia, but raised in the Bay Area in California. But eventually one day I would love to go back and visit and see all the places that my parents saw when they came to adopt me.
I actually grew up in a huge family. I am the youngest of 17, so I am the baby. My adopted parents, Jim and Paula, they actually have 3 kids of their own. So that means 14 of us are actually adopted, but I am the only adopted kid out of the country.
I'm one of 10 kids. I have 3 older brothers who are biologically related to my parents, and then I have 6 siblings who are also adopted.
A family dynamic with a family of 17 it's hard just because a lot of them were older than me, so it's really hard to just kind of connect with my older siblings just because they were kind of already grown-ups when I got here, so we haven't really had time to bond or really chat. They're kind of what you'd say acquaintances that you see every family holiday, but like I definitely do still consider them my siblings. The other half of my siblings, I did see a lot of them kind of in and out of my life growing up. No one really stable, no one really there to like kind of guide me through the chaos of a huge family. So, but that was kind of our dynamic. It was more like you kind of fend for yourself, which is okay because that's kind of how I grew up. Now I'm a strong, independent woman, which I love about myself. But sometimes you always just need that person to lean on.
Growing up, I would say all of my siblings and I were pretty close. I have a sister who's 3 months older than I am, and we did everything together, sports, class. I've been pretty close with my siblings. I think something that we can bond over is being adopted. I've had some conversations with my younger siblings about like what it means to them, because we all have different stories and backgrounds, and some of us don't even know our backgrounds. And so I think being able to have conversations with them and not feeling like we're the only person who feels this way about something is pretty special. But now living in a different state and being away from them, it's a little different. I have some friends out here who are adopted, which is pretty cool. But I think back home I definitely miss having those conversations with my siblings, and it's fun to just call them and talk to them about stuff going on.
Another cool thing is I actually got to meet my birth parents, so that was really kind of crazy, surreal kind of feeling. It's like you talk about wanting to meet your parents that you've never met before, and then it like finally happens. You're like, whoa, kind of like an out-of-body experience. So, but I really had a fun time, and just meeting them was kind of like full circle. It kind of just filled a hole in my chest that I didn't know kind of existed.
I do not have a relationship with my biological family. I kind of have little information about them, but honestly I kind of like it that way now. Stuff's a mystery, and I think it's pretty cool that just because I'm related to someone, I feel like when people are like, oh, I'm related to this person, you kind of almost have to like look after them or be similar to them. I think it's cool that I don't have it, but if I was given the chance to meet them, I'd love to. But I don't think I would be particularly close with them. I think there's just that barrier that kind of separates me to them. But yeah, someday I'd love to meet them.
I would definitely say I felt like a lot of my siblings were a little jealous that I kind of got to go meet my biological family, just because it's always hard finding your parents as an adopted child. There's kind of like, it's really hard to reconnect with them and find an opportunity to actually go meet up with them. But thankfully, my mom, she's always been my biggest supporter, so she definitely fought for me to go see my adopted parents in Haiti. So when that opportunity came up in church, that we met someone who actually traveled to Haiti pretty much consistently every year, she jumped on it and she told me of the chance, and I was hesitant at first, just because it's like, wow, like, am I really about to go meet my parents? And it's just like, I don't know, that kind of seems weird. But my mom definitely kind of pushed me, gave me that kind of final shove where she's like, no, this is really good for you. And it definitely was, and I'm so thankful for my mom. She definitely will always and forever be my biggest supporter, and I couldn't thank her enough for pushing me to go and visit my birth parents.
I think my adopted family would be excited for me to meet my biological family. I think there would also be a part of them that would be upset or sad that I would choose to try and meet the family that I'm blood related to, when growing up my parents always taught us that blood doesn't make a family. And I think my mom and dad would struggle with it because maybe they would think they wouldn't be enough, and I've definitely had a conversation with them about that. But I would just meet them, and I think overall, like with all the hard things put aside, I think my family would be supportive, and I think they would want to meet them too, just to kind of see where some of my interests come from or see if any of us look similar.
My thoughts on adoption is that I think it's a wonderful thing. Coming from an adopted family and just knowing my story and how I was able to live a whole completely different life than I could have lived in Haiti. Like personally, from what my mom was telling me and kind of just how I was when I first was adopted, like I personally probably wouldn't have lived maybe a year afterwards. I think it's just a life-changing, a life-saving opportunity to adopt kids. There are so many kids just in orphanage or in foster care that just need that love. Being a part of an adoptive family is just so special as well, is that we kind of all share that bond. I would definitely adopt. Adopting is just such a special and dear thing to my heart, and just knowing that I could save a kid / give them a better life. That's definitely something I am super grateful for my adoptive parents for doing to me, so I would definitely do that for another kid.
Overall, I think adoption is great. My parents, like I said, they've adopted 7 kids, and my mom said that if she could adopt all the kids in the world, she could, because everyone deserves to have a loving home and get a second chance. I also think that if I were to have a family, I would love to adopt, and I've definitely thought about it.